episode, Abigail's going to give you all the strategies to transform your profile and presence into a client generating machine. Now, I've known Abigail for years, so I have to tell you, she's got the goods, and I'm so excited to have her here. And if you love this episode, you love the show, I'd love to invite you to subscribe. So keep that coming to you. Now, about Abigail, she is a 40-year leverage and launch strategist who brings common sense approach to strategically getting more clients through effective marketing. She is the daughter of a madman and entrepreneurial mom and started her career in the New York City advertising agencies. So, Abigail is a serial entrepreneur, creating both 6 and 7 figure businesses. And today, she partners with Tammy Crea, another 40 plus year marketing and sales veteran, to create marketing that drives better sales conversations and conversions. Well, Abigail, I am so glad to have you here. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. You and I do go back a while, so it's fun to get together.
Yes. So I'd love to hear what gave you the idea to start Savvy Sales Strategy.
Oh, that's an interesting story. So Tammy and I met doing high ticket sales, and we, ended up being back of the room at an event, and we're sitting there looking at the people who are there, listening to the questions they're asking, and we looked at each other and said, we need to do something together. We just felt like sisters from a different mister. And that was in September of 18. We had known each other since 17 because we had been on sales accounts, but this was the first in-person contact that we had. And so we decided to partner up and start working. We still work today, but we are it's very interesting. We're both very sales focused marketers and marketing focused salespeople, right? Very few people possess the abilities on both sides of that coin. And there are distinct differences,
Oh,
but understanding both of us are marketers by profession and by academics. And we came to the high ticket world just by chance, both of us. So it's been interesting to be a part of that. And our business is more marketing focused, although we've done sales contracts for clients before. So that's how we came together. And Savvy Sales Strategies really focuses on what are the strategies necessary to really create better sales conversations.
yeah. I love that. So, how can LinkedIn help someone, sell more effectively?
Well, I think as a platform, it's really the professional platform.
Yeah.
In the past, it's been known as the professional platform that helps you get a job. But now it's really become more of a professional platform that helps you build a business if used correctly.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I mean, LinkedIn is the only platform I really interact with, to be honest.
Right.
And I'd love to have you, sort of walk us through because we're talking about LinkedIn, that LinkedIn content system that and what you're going to post, how often, what are the formats, and how do you do this to get a good sales conversation started?
Well, you start by knowing the marketing basics, right? And that truly, I can talk all day long about the tactical implementation, but without the marketing basics, you're still stuck with putting up content that's not going to go anywhere, right?
Oh yeah.
So I would tell you the first basic is really understanding the problem you solve and how you're the solution to the problem you solve, right? You're the answer. We used to all talk about marketing and showing up as the expert, but today we want to show up as the answer, and I'll tell you why. If you go and Google yourself, chances are LinkedIn is going to show up as the very first tool to go find out more about yourself before your website, before your Facebook page, right? So LinkedIn is an SEO, um, a tool that's tied into SEO. But we're evolving to a whole new level of search, right? We're evolving into AEO, which
Right.
is AI generated engine, right? AEO, search engine optimization is now AI engine optimization. So, and the way people Google versus AI is different. So Google, it'll be, find me hair salons in Palm Beach County, where AI is, give me the top 10, what are the top 10 hair salons and how are they, which ones are, please rank them by who does color versus perms and which, stylist do I want to use, right? So we're asking things in a different way. So LinkedIn now is a great place to get all of that information down so that, again, as an SEO tool, it's showing up in that search engine, and as an AI tool, it is also showing up there as well. And LinkedIn can answer those questions, right? Who am I? What problem do I solve? Who do I solve it for? How am I the answer that's different from 15 other sales trainers? How am I the answer that's different from 15 other social media marketers?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I really like that framework that you've just given us, and it's really powerful.
Right.
So, how do you mix, posting content with reaching out to people directly on LinkedIn? I mean, do you have a formula that you feel is really the best way to do it?
I do. And it's interesting because my business partner is she's the ninja around this because she likes tactics more than I do. I'm big picture. She's big picture too. Don't let her kid you. She gets the big picture as well. But she has geeked out over the last 10 years understanding these search engines and when they pop up and how to really maximize them. And here's the thing about LinkedIn, right? And this is true again about any platform. Number one, once you understand really the problem you solve and who you solve it for, right? And how you're the answer that is different, that means you're going to show up authentically. So, the way you approach sales versus the way you approach marketing versus the way you approach, logistics or project management, it really comes down to where's that story, that fine line between story, skill set, tool set, and mindset if you add all of that together. So when you're posting, number one, it's authentic. Number two, it is answering a question that somebody has,
Yeah.
right? Whether you're curating information or not is not so much the challenge, right? You don't have to sit there and create thousands of content ideas, but you have to be plugged into how you want to show up differently. So what's a take on something that maybe somebody else has done where now you get to say, "Hey, do you believe this or not?" Or how would you change this? Or do you agree, right? There's now we can start conversations. And ultimately, I think that's the reason why social media is started existing in the first place was to create conversations,
Yeah.
not just to kind of bark at people, right?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think that's one of the, I mean, people really want to have that interaction. And
Yeah.
so, and that is one place to do that,
Oh,
when we're living
yeah.
our solitary lives, right?
It it is, and, because ultimately people are looking for answers
Yeah.
all day long. People wanna know, number 1, that you can solve their problem in a way that feels good to them,
Yeah.
and you can do it ethically, and you can do it authentically. And, here's the thing about LinkedIn, like, versus Facebook. I'm not an Instagram girl or a TikTok girl, so please don't ask me questions about those. But, I read somewhere that really to get traction on Facebook, you've gotta be posting 10, 12 times a day. Not just posting, but responding and, showing up, and I just don't have the bandwidth for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think with everything, one of the things that people look at a lot is it's just a massive amount of hustle. Um,
Yeah.
Facebook specifically has current is like 1% engagement.
Yeah.
People are looking at it in the evening, at the early morning, they're not really looking at it to engage in like a conversation to look into a product or service
Right.
necessarily.
I
Um,
and there's still business that transacts on Facebook. So,
yes, but
yeah.
considering the amount of time and energy and hustle that you put into that, it's
Right.
really surprising. And of course, for D2C, direct to consumer, there's going to be a much it's there's going to be it's different than B2B, right? Depending
Right.
on what that B2B is. So what are some of the common mistakes people make on LinkedIn? And how could they fix them quickly?
Yeah, I would say that, number 1, not posting enough. Number 2, not really kind of building a relationship with people who are commenting back on their posts, or with going out to find out who do you want in your circle so that you can start creating a relationship with them.
Right.
Right? Because it is true, the more you're posting and responding, the more people are gonna see it. So there is, the benefit of that algorithm boost. So that's first. That's actually second, because first is you've gotta have a banner, a headline, and an about that truly stops people.
Yeah, well, and
That
I'd also say you got to have a professional photo. You
Oh,
know, I
absolutely. Yeah,
mean, a photo of your dog's picture or a photo of that's just some bizarre thing
yeah,
serves no purpose. I mean,
right.
in fact, if they don't have a photo, I won't even connect with people. Not
No,
unless
I
I
I
absolutely know them really well. I mean,
and I won't do it
and
with
maybe they have a
avatars
dog's
either.
picture because it's has to do with their business. But I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, I won't do it with avatars either. I
yeah,
I
no,
wanna be able to know who I'm gonna Zoom with or work with, and I also think too, this is how I perceive LinkedIn versus Facebook, and I don't know that we were supposed to be comparing the 2, but LinkedIn is relational more so than Facebook being kind of transactional,
yeah,
which almost seems counterintuitive. 'Cause, LinkedIn is more of a professional platform, but ultimately, I wanna deal with $20,000 contracts and $50,000 contracts. I don't wanna deal with, $75 transactions. So I know that there's trust building that needs to happen, there's authority building that needs to happen, and there's visibility. And so it is the combination of things where you've got people now reaching back out to you, right? Because I saw this post, or this post was shared, or however it shows up in their feed. And then you now have the ability to go create a one-on-one relationship through organic outreach. And you
yeah,
should be doing that anyway. When I first moved, uh, uh, got involved with the women, and I was a managing director in Knoxville. I live 78 miles away in Greenville. But what I did was I went to LinkedIn and I looked up every single woman that was in Knoxville and said, I would love to connect with you as a new business owner in your community. And most of those people were very happy to connect back. And some of them have attended, meetings. Some of them we've met with one on one. Some of them have just been, oh, I'd love to meet with you. And of course, that never happens.
yeah.
But for the most part, I find that when there's a connection and a purpose, you're going to get a better response through organic outreach.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I, whenever I connect with someone, there is a purpose. I usually always do the note, why? You know,
Yeah.
why am I connecting with you? It's because you asked me to be a guest on your podcast. So I want to connect here because this is my biggest platform.
Right.
It
Right.
makes sense. I'm going to promote the episode, yada, yada. Of course, I want to connect with you here. But, and that's very simple, but it's like, why? And it's
Right.
like, oh, I met you at this networking event last night. You may already have forgotten.
Yeah. Well,
You
and
met 30 people, right?
that's a reality, right? You were asking about mistakes, and so that, one is not really being set up on LinkedIn to show up professionally
Yeah.
and really focused on the problem you solve, right? The second is not responding to responses and connecting with people who are responding to your posts. The third is actually not posting enough. You should, in this day with AI, it is incredibly easy to create a 30-day calendar, of posts that are easy enough to either time promote or, do promote live. I happen to be a fan of live only because if somebody responds, I want to be able to respond in a timely manner. But I would tell you the one other thing that often doesn't happen is, and this is true again on all social media, is we create a profile and then we never update it.
Ah,
Right? 3 years have gone by, our entire avatar has changed, our offer has changed, and we're still on there as, Susie Q who did this. And yet they're wondering why they're not getting visibility, or they're getting outreach from people who want that, not their new offers, and it doesn't happen through osmosis, but our brand should be looked at frequently anyway. It is the living, breathing soul of our business.
yeah. No,
So,
I mean, I know that I've done a refresh on all of the socials a few times over the
yeah,
years, but LinkedIn is the one that I mean, I personally pay the most attention to.
right.
Um, like I said, so I'm curious because you said this and we didn't get an answer. How often do you need to be posting? I mean,
Yeah,
or
so
what do you think is the ideal?
I think you need to be posting 3 to 4 times a week,
Okay.
and I think you should be on daily and make it a daily practice of going in, and if there's people you really want to be, aligned to, or, here's the thing, right? There's always the idea of stealing somebody else's audience. So go, follow somebody that's in your space that you think is rocking it and see who's showing up there and respond to their, there's a lot of ways of getting research done, right? Because all of marketing is ultimately research,
Yeah. Yeah,
you know.
absolutely. No, I mean, that's a really good pointer. And I think the other thing I would say is rather than just resharing posts, you actually should be putting original content down. I mean, voice an opinion. I always believe that if you're better off repelling people who you shouldn't be working with
Right.
and then and then attracting the ones that you should be, right? And
Right.
so having putting that out there is to me is really important. So because I talk a lot about I'm not a one call closer. It's all about relationships. And
Right.
so for me, if somebody is a one call closer and they're repelled by that, hallelujah. I do
Yeah.
not want to talk to them anyway. I'm just going to be, I mean, they may be very nice people, but that's not what I do with my business.
No,
And so
and
it,
that's your point of view, right?
yeah,
That's a business practice, it's a boundary,
it's
it's a
authentic, right?
value, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So you're absolutely right. I think that we have to have our own point of view. And it's easy, as I said before, it's easy enough with AI to say, this is really what I want to say, but can you make it eloquent? Can you
yeah,
make it short and snappy? Can you make it provocative? In this day and age, we don't have to sit here going like this to the computer with a blank screen in front of us trying to come up with a meme or
yeah. Well, absolutely, especially when we've invested the time to truly train AI is a piece of fuzz. That we've really trained it to understand our voice,
right,
our values, our perspective, and we've also got the privacy setting correct, right? I mean, you have a paid account. And when you do that, now it becomes much easier. You can turn on the voice on it and start having a conversation about what you want to have.
right.
And you can mix it up. You can write content and then put it in and say, well, this is what I want you to change with it,
Yeah.
or I need a story that goes with this, or
Yeah, or
and
can you give me 3 key takeaways so that I can
yes,
turn this into a week of posts and just, takeaway number 1, we could play Jeopardy, right? Here's the answer, what's the question? We can do Wheel of Fortune, we could do Name That Tune, like, we can do a whole bunch of, we can funify it, gamify it if we want, or
yeah,
we can be dead serious and, just show up like we're beyond all that.
yeah.
That's where the personality comes in.
Oh, absolutely. So I love this. So now I I think this is what are the simple habits or numbers should people track every week to go from a post to a DM to a call and then to a sale? So that's a process, so what are the habits and the numbers, and what do we
Right.
need to be tracking so that we can move from posting to DM to having a meeting and then working with someone.
Yeah,
And
so
then what's that cadence look like?
I think there's a lot of pieces in between that, right?
Okay.
It really depends on where the funnel starts and what you're looking to do. So let's say, are we doing a visibility funnel, right? This is a visibility, authority, trust funnel. Are we doing a call to an event? Are we doing a conversion, right? So there's different things that need to happen in slightly different ways, and that's why you bring on a marketer to help you really have all of that fleshed out. So, again, I would be focused on 3 to 4 posts a week. I would be focused on spending 15 to 30 minutes a at least 4 days a week, if, 3 at the absolute minimum, going in and taking a look at different posts and how you can, become a part of that conversation. Because again, sometimes how you respond to a post creates more interest than how you post.
Yeah.
So you've got to understand really where your audience is and, how you want to show up. So that I would say a minimum of, you know, 15 to 20 minutes, 30 minutes, at least 3, but preferably 4 times a week. And then I would say I'd be reaching out to 5 people every day because that's, stays under the LinkedIn radar. You're not spamming. I would have a reason why
Oh,
you
yeah.
were reaching out to them. You just seem like really cool, or we could do some business together, or I might want your service. I mean, I just need to get to know you. And not the canned response, but that should be also a part of a tree, right? You want a minimum of 3 to 4 reach outs to those people to get them to say yes. After the connection request, right? So the first connection has to be why you want to reach out. The second then is, are you open to whatever your language is, but are you open to a one-on-one? I do a lot of one-on-ones, and I know people who don't do any
Yeah.
because they think it's a waste of their time. And I have met friends, I've met colleagues, I've met referral partners, I've met clients. So,
Yeah.
I'm a yes girl. You have
Yeah.
to figure out what kind of girl you are, what kind of woman or man you are, but I am a yes girl when it comes to marketing because you never know,
Yeah.
right? We are always hopeful. Yeah, we're the
Yeah. I mean,
Labrador
people are not
Retriever
necessarily
puppies.
gonna be a client, but they could become a promoter, they could become a platform for you, they could
Oh,
become a
abs
partner, as you said. I mean, all the things.
yeah,
And, it can be really fascinating.
yeah.
So, I really appreciate that. So, Abigail, is there a question I have not asked you that you think people should really know the answer to about LinkedIn?
Yeah, here's the most provocative question perhaps is, do they really know what their LinkedIn profile is doing for them? And one of the things that we created as a part of our business is an audit. People do audits on their websites all the time, but we have a LinkedIn. We do a LinkedIn audit to take a look at, do they need a profile update? Do they need a complete redo? How does their LinkedIn tie into the rest of their marketing strategy? Because again, it is simply a tool and a platform.
Yeah.
And it can be, as dead as a doornail or as active as you make it. And it's up to you. It's,
Yeah.
you know, LinkedIn's not doing the work. So again, we think all these static platforms that, it's not really as static as a website, but all of these platforms are going to be doing something for us. And
No,
we've got
you
to
gotta
do
be
the work.
taking action, you gotta be doing things.
Right.
I mean, you can't just, open the shop, put an open sign up, and expect people to flock in and start buying from you. Just
Exactly.
that's not how it works.
No, no, and especially again, what type of client do you want? Do you
Yeah,
want a transactional client where, I do a lot of work in the coaching space where somebody is, I've got this $49, $39, $72, $7, right? All of these offers are, you know, go right to your signature offer. And my minimum contract is 10,000 because I want to work with people who really are ready to ramp up. Not,
Yeah.
well, let me see what you're like at $7 and then I'll go to a $99. And I know those funnels exist and there's nothing wrong with them, but here's the thing. I don't have 100,000 people on my email list. So I can make 1 or 2% sales and have a good weekend.
Yeah.
I have a smaller community and I like my community and we're growing together. So
Yeah.
those funnels don't work for me. And guess what? They probably don't work for about 90% of the coaching world, the consulting world, you know, space.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's always just like it's pretty hard to 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 make back your investment if you're only charging somebody $7. So, Abigail, thank you so much for sharing how to use LinkedIn to consistently attract high value clients. I know that our listeners are going to want to know more about you and how they can connect with you.
Yeah. So I'm on LinkedIn. And reach out to me. I accept most people, I don't want to be sold to. I will accept people, and even if they are trying to sell to me, that I will gently tell them that's not the way to start a relationship because I am a relationship marketer first and foremost. The good news is I am the only Abigail Tiefenthaler on LinkedIn. The beautiful thing about having crazy names that nobody pronounces easily, right? So reach out to me because again, whether it's LinkedIn, it's trying to understand marketing strategy, it's really trying to figure out why you're not getting the sales conversations. You can take it over with why they're not closing, right? Why they need more support around that. But marketing is designed to create one-way communication to drive decision making so that
Right.
they can show up at a sales table and have a two-way conversation that drives decisions,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
And to your earlier point, they're very different
Right.
areas. So thank you so much, Abigail.
You're
And thank you to all of our listeners who tuned in. I mean, I have found this such an informative discussion. I'm going to be going back and listening to it again. And wow, Abigail, thank you. You just delivered so much value today. It's been just a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. It's been great. Lynn, it's always nice to spend time with you. So hopefully I said something that somebody will say, "Oh, I'm not doing this," or they found, a missing piece, right? A gap in what they're doing. Or they may say, "I've got to start from scratch. I've got to go back. I've just lost my way
Yeah.
by trying to do what everybody else is saying that I don't sound like me anymore."
Yeah. No, you got to be your authentic self. That is how you really distinguish yourself in any other way is being human. So,
Amen.
yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. There we go. Woohoo. And you can
It's
be
that
off